So when I was 19 years old, I was working a dead-end retail job. I was scraping around £1,000 a month. I had no leverage, no experience, no nothing. I was a crippling introvert, and I didn't have any kind of leverage in any realm whatsoever. And I still managed to, not long after, quit that retail job and make £5,000 every single month from an online remote sales job with no background experience, okay? Now, I'm gonna break down in this video how I did it, how you can do it too, and the reason why you failed this far, because I know this is probably what you're trying to do. You're probably trying to get into this environment, okay? You wanted to achieve the same thing, and it's not working, okay? And I'm gonna run you through exactly what you're doing wrong and how you can fix it. So, the main thing is thinking that you need experience to start, okay? Now, granted, don't get me wrong, absolutely having experience will give you so much more leverage than if you didn't, but it's not like the be all end all. You can still do it with no experience. I'm a living, breathing proof, okay? So what you're doing wrong is thinking that you need experience, and also you're aiming way too bloody high, okay? For the sales roles or the sales industry that you're trying to get into, that you're trying to aim for right now, of course, you're not getting it, because yes, you do need experience to take sales calls with millionaires all day and you're trying to sell a 10 grand package over the phone. Why would someone hire you if you haven't got any sales experience to do that? Of course, yes. But if you just aim a little bit lower and you start with one of the more basic industries of sales, okay? For example, what I did was I went into appointment setting, okay? There's a very big difference between appointment setting and something like, closing deals over the phone, okay? Very big difference. And honestly, depending on the offer you're on, the payment structures aren't that different, okay? I've made more as an appointment setter than most sales closers that take sales calls all day make, okay? I make more than quite a lot of them, okay? And I've made more than them in the past as well. So I got into appointment setting because appointment setting is the most basic form of sales that you can get into with no experience, right? There's not much barrier to entry, and you can still earn upwards of £5,000 every single month, okay? If you're not familiar with what appointment setting is, I mean, I've kind of banged on about it on this channel, but for anyone that's new here, appointment setting is essentially exactly how it sounds. You're gonna be setting appointments, but it's really easy because you're just gonna be DMing people every single day and just saying, look, you've got this problem, we could solve it. Are you open to having a chat? I swear down, it is that easy, okay? For example, let's say you're working with a fitness coach, right? And he's got 100,000 followers, and he's got a coaching program where he teaches people how to get a six pack, right? Great. So do you really think that he's got enough time to speak to all those 100,000 followers? He's got 100,000 potential clients, right? But he hasn't got 100,000 clients. He's got 100,000 followers. So it's like however many people that he's got on his Instagram could be clients, but they're not, because he doesn't have enough time to talk to them because he's too busy running his own business, right? He's too busy dealing with all of the operations of running the company. So if he doesn't fix the problem of getting appointments on his calendar, he can't close any more clients and he can't make any more money, because the way these guys make money is by having sales calls and closing them on the sales call, okay? So they need a consistent flow of appointments coming through to their calendar, and if they don't fix that quick, obviously they're just gonna go dry and make no money. So they need to fix the problem ASAP, because if they don't, like I said, their business dies. So it's a big problem they need to fix ASAP. So here's where you have leverage, right? Here's where someone who literally has no experience can take this off of their hands and make a ton of money. Because here's the thing. Do you really think that speaking to people via DM and just saying, look, you've got this problem, you want to get a six pack, I can help you get a six pack, are you open to having a quick chat so I can show you my process? Is that something that takes a rocket scientist to be able to do, okay? It doesn't, okay? A monkey could do it, a 6-year-old could do it. It's really that easy. The main thing that you're doing here, the main leverage you have that's going to make you stand out, is that you've got enough time in the day to respond to these people and the business owner doesn't, right? So you do not need experience to do that. It's the same as being persuasive to one of your friends to try and convince them to come down to the pub, and he's going, oh, I want to come, but I'm not really sure. And you go, come on, mate, just come out for 30 minutes, we'll have a good time. If you're not feeling it after 30 minutes, we can leave it there, okay? It's basic level persuasion skills that we all have as human beings. The level that you need it to get to is not hard to acquire, okay? You do not need to be some sales whiz. You do not need to practice for months. You do not need to, spend like months and months and months like doing mock sales calls or whatever people tell you to do. You do not need to do that, okay? Because here's the thing. You just need to show to these guys that are looking for appointment setters that, one, you can take it off their hands and completely relieve their stresses of having to speak to these people, okay, which you're going to be able to do because you've got a lot more free time than they do. You need to seem that you are committed and persistent, which you will be, okay? Again, that's not a hard trait to acquire. All you've got to do is follow up with leads that haven't booked in, or follow up with leads that could be a decent client, right? It doesn't take a genius to do that. And you also need to seem coachable, okay? Because here's the thing, these guys that sell these offers, like for example, a coaching offer, these guys that sell these offers, they have their own way of working. They have their own SOPs, they have their own scripts and structures that they want anyone who works for them to abide by, okay? For example, a sales closer, someone who's taking sales calls over the phone, yeah, they might be good at sales, right? They might be a good salesman, but they need to understand the structure of how the sales call for that company specifically works, okay, and the offer they're selling. So with appointment setting, because it doesn't take much work or skill to book someone into an appointment, right? It's not that hard to get into, because they're going to teach you how they want you to work. You're going to be working with them and they're going to say, look, all I need to see is that you're coachable, right? And persistent and persuasive. I'm going to show you how I want you to work and how I want you to put people into calls. They have their own systems of doing it. The appointment setting position that I was on when I first started, they were like, look, I don't care about how good you are or what your experience was in the past. I just want to see that you're persistent and coachable. We have our own way of working that I want you to use, and I want you to be coachable enough for me to be able to give it to you and you actually follow it. It's that simple. So the experience that you think you need is what they teach you when you're on the job anyway. So even if you do have experience in the past of appointment setting, yes, it's going to help. But the thing is, they're just going to retrain you of how to do it their way anyway. So it doesn't matter whether you have experience or not. Persuasion, persistence, and coachableness, if that's a word. Okay, that's all they're looking for. And that is exactly how I landed my first position. I saw a company that was hiring for appointment setters. They said, look, we need someone who's got enough time in the day to respond to these leads, okay, while I was working a full-time retail job, right? I was like, look, I can do it. I can DM people, it's fine. I just needed to make a couple of £100 extra a month, okay? I didn't realize how far it was going to take me. And I got on the call with the guy that was hiring, and he was like, he liked my character. He could tell that I was serious. He could tell that I was committed and persistent. And that's the main things they need to look for. And like I said, these are not hard traits to acquire. And he said, look, I'm not looking for you to be skilled. I'm looking for you to be persistent, okay, and coachable, because we've got our own way of working and I want you to follow it this way. If you follow it the way that I tell you to do it, you're going to be absolutely fine, okay? And that's how I did it. Honestly, you guys are aiming way too high and thinking way too deeply about this. You don't need to be a sales whiz. You don't need to be this kind of genius. You just need to be persistent and coachable. That's all they care about, okay? If you can stand out and show you're a serious person and that you be a good worker, that's all you need to start a basic level sales role like appointment setting and make upwards of £5,000 a month. Because here's the thing, with appointment setting, you get paid per appointment that you book. So of course, if you book someone to an appointment, they book in, you get paid a certain amount. And the going rate at the moment is around $50 per appointment. And if you have a fitness coach that's got 100,000 followers, right? That's a lot of lead volume and a lot of a lead flow for you to work through and a lot of appointments for you to potentially book. So let's say you're on a big offer that has a decent price point and a lot of lead flow, like hundreds of thousands of followers coming through, and you're speaking to people that want to get a six pack and you're booking in, let's say you book in 100 people per month and you're being paid $50 per appointment. $50 times 100, that's $5,000, right? Just from booking the appointments alone. Now, some roles, depending on your experience level, like this is the thing, you can earn more with more experience, right? Or some jobs may even pay you this too. But as you go further along, you can negotiate, because you've done such a good job in the past, you can negotiate being paid commission on the deal closing. So the deal actually going through, the person paying. So let's say $50 per appointment times 100 appointments a month. That's $5,000 every single month. And then let's say you get 5% commission on the deal as well. Now, I'm not going to go into the numbers and specifics in the moment, but you can imagine if like quite a lot of those 100 appointments actually close and you get 5% commission on like a $5,000 deal, that's an extra couple of grand a month, okay? So you're getting $5,000 a month just by booking the appointments alone. And then if you can negotiate a commission structure, which I show people how to do as well, you can earn even more than that and you can get to 10K plus, which I've actually done a couple of times. And it really is that simple, okay? So the main thing I want you to take away from this video is get rid of the belief that you need a bunch of experience to start. You really don't. You need to show that you're like a decent person, you're presentable, you're persistent, and you're coachable. Because here's the thing, like I said, they're gonna retrain you anyway. If you're a genius salesman, with loads of experience in the past, and it doesn't matter because they're going to retrain you to their standards anyway. So that can work for someone who's experienced or a complete beginner. They want to see that you can take it off of their hands and like just book people into appointments consistently. It does not take a genius to book someone into a call. It's as simple as saying, you've got this problem, we can solve it. Are you open to having a chat? Yes, I am. Book the call, paid. It really is that simple, okay? And that's exactly how I landed a role paying upwards of £5,000 a month. And I've also hit above that many, many times as well, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very quick video for this today. If you want to learn exactly how to get into this realm and how to land a position extremely quickly and get extremely good and be paid extremely well, then there's going to be a link down below in the description to book a call with me. I'll run you through my exact strategy and how I can help you do the exact same thing, okay? I did it very fast with someone who didn't know what they were doing, right? Now that I know exactly what I know, with 2 years of blood, sweat and tears, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it too. So if you're open to seeing how that works, book a call with me down below and I'll run you through it. Full transparency, it is a sales call, so if you don't want to be sold to, don't book the call. Don't worry, I'm not going to hold a gun to your head. But if you're serious about getting out of your job and making £5 a month from your phone, right, the same way that I do every single month, then book a call with me and I'll show you how to do it.